A very good day to Prof and my dear friends. My name is Kartigan. My metric number is 830827. Would like to present about my company chosen for this project, which is Axiata Berhad. Let me give a brief introduction about Axiata Berhad. Axiata Berhad is a Malaysian telecommunications company that actually operates in multiple Asian countries. The company was actually founded in year 1992 as the TM International and was renamed as Axiata in the year 2008. It provides a range of services including mobile voice, data services, broadbands, and digital services to approximately about 350 million customers across 11 countries in the world. The countries that Axiata Berhad operates includes Malaysia, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Cambodia, Nepal, Pakistan, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, and Philippines. Axiata's mission is advancing Asia by championing digital inclusion and community empowerment, where its vision is to be the next generation digital champion by the year 2024 by evolving from a pure play telco to a triple core business. So Axiata has a 4P objective, which is to be one of the Asia's largest telecoms and technology groups, to be known as a top talent brand and Asian talent factory, being the first choice for customers and partners by offering superior customer experience and building trust with stakeholders, and the last would be to be known as a responsible digital champion by creating digitally inclusive and environmentally sustainable society. Right, let us see the segments of business of Axiata Berhad. The first segment of business is the digital telco, which consists of Celcom in Malaysia, XL Axiata in Indonesia, Dialog in Sri Lanka, Robi in Bangladesh, Smart in Cambodia, and Ncell in Nepal. The digital business of Axiata consists of two, which is the Boost and ADA. The first, Boost, is actually a digitalized payment method, financing and insurance introduced by Axiata in Malaysia. ADA, the ADA, is a combined digital analytics, marketing, and e-commerce solution provider and aids company in advancing their digital and data maturity in order to meet their business objectives. The last segment would be the infrastructure segment, which consists of Digital E.co, which helps in promoting regional connectedness, closing the digital gap in 8 nations, and advancing the climate change goal through the use of renewable energy and green tower designs. Okay, moving on to the competitive advantage. Before that, I would like to give a slight brief on the benefits of having a competitive advantage. Competitive advantage actually helps a company to differentiate its product or services from those of its rivals, establishing a strong brand identity and build a customer loyalty. It also helps a company to increase its market share, boost profitability, and attract and retain top talents, right? So from here, I have identified three most important competitive advantage of Axiata. The first would be diversified business portfolio. Axiata has 3 different business segments, which enabled it to diversify the risk. Axiata able to compensate its segment with low profit margins with the other segments with the higher profit margins, and which means the profit margins of Axiata is evenly balanced, right? So, and Axiata was able to cater the market demand effectively in all the markets that it serves. The second competitive advantage is the invention and technology. The introduction of new technology advancements in the telco field has been made possible by Axiata, where it also gained the early mover advantage, which pioneered the 5G technology. Axiata worked with big technology giants like Microsoft and Huawei, introduced new packages and plans for students from certain countries of its operations. Axiata also introduced the first FTD Smart 8T8R network in the world with a collaboration with Huawei. The third competitive advantage said is delivering great customer experience. Axiata viewed its role in a bigger perspective as compared to other telco players in Malaysia and other countries, and it has kept its responsibility to support the people around the country or region that it serves. Axiata actually used modern customer experience management tools, and Axiata acted as a one-stop data solution provider from all one individual to different entities and a group of people. Right. Here, I would like to identify and explain about the motivation of Axiata to going abroad and exploring new markets. Right? The first one is to diversify its revenue streams. Axiata diversified its sources of income by expanding into different markets and business lines, which enabled it to reduce the dependency on only one source and product or market, thereby increasing its resilience, sustainability, adaptability, and towards the changing economic and the environment in the world. So next is growth opportunities. Focus on Axiata actually focused on emerging countries with which population growth and low rates of telecoms adaptation has enabled the company to identify and capitalize on significant growth opportunities, which so helped to quickly establish itself as a top telecommunications provider in these markets and achieve a sustainable market share. The third one would be the urge to explore new technologies and expertise. Axiata's expansion into new markets has enabled the company to gain access to new technologies, knowledge, and innovation services that it can use to enhance its operations and services in both domestic and the international market. It also helped Axiata to become more competitive and maintain its lead in the invention and service options in the highly competitive telecommunication industry all around the world, not only in Malaysia. Now let us look at the microenvironment of Axiata Berhad's operation. For this, I have enacted the pastel analysis. So first, I will start with the politics. Axiata's business operations and investment decisions in various countries are impacted by the political climate and changes in laws and regulations. As usual, like what other companies are also undergoing, which require the company to stay alert and adapt to the changes frequently. Second could be is the economic factor, right? Axiata's operation may be impacted by the economic conditions of the country where it operates, as well as by the global economic conditions, exchange rates, and demands for its services, and that the COVID-19 pandemic, which actually resulted to a tremendous a change of its business culture and way it operates all around the world, right? Third could be the social aspect, where Axiata must adapt to its service offerings and marketing plans to meet the changing demands and preference of its target customer groups from all over the country. As we all know, right, the social aspect and the social aspects actually differs according to the countries and regions where people are from, right? So in this for this purpose, Axiata would have to closely monitor and be very sensitive to whatever change that socially takes place within the region or the place that Axiata actually operates. Moving on to the technological developments present opportunities for Axiata to innovate and offer new services to clients. Axiata has been investing in new technologies to enhance its service offerings and adapt to changing client expectations, such as, you know, when e-commerce is booming and Axiata's actually started to venture into providing services to aid and help people to effectively conduct the e-commerce business in the regions of the country that it operates. Next is the legal, right? Axiata operates in different countries that have varying legal and regulatory systems, which may affect its business operations. Compliance with the native laws and regulations is important for Axiata to operate profitably in these nations, especially with frequent political changes and so on is taking place. So Axiata should be aware of what are the legal aspects that it should consider before and after it has successfully ventured into some new business or new segments of its product, especially. The last one would be the environment, where Axiata is committed to reducing its environmental impact as a telecommunication company by implementing various sustainability measures. Now, Axiata is actually into a venture, into an effort to actually reduce the carbon footprint across the globe wherever it operates. Now I would like to brief on the industry environment that Axiata actually operates in. For this, I have enacted the Porter's 5 model. Let me begin with the intensity of rivalry among existing competitors. So Axiata faces competition from several major telecommunication companies, including Maxis and TM, and has responded by reducing costs and diversifying its services through the creation of products such as the boosts and several partnerships. Next, moving on to the threats of new entrants, Axiata Group Berhad faces a moderate level of threat for new entrants in the telecommunication industry due to high barriers to entry. Third is the bargaining power of buyer. Axiata Group Berhad faces high bargaining power of buyers in the telecommunication industry as consumers have ability to influence prices and customer services. The company faces competition from well-known companies like Maxis, U-Mobile, and previously where DG was into the competition, but now since they already made acquisition of DG, so there's minimal, almost no competition faced by DG, and as well as small and less known companies who operating the same environment of Axiata. Moving on to the bargaining power of supplier, right? Axiata Group Berhad engage with suppliers who provide essential goods and services, and although the bargaining power of suppliers is low, Axiata is still tends to maintain a good relationship with them. And last would be the threat of substitute products in telecommunication industry. There are no substitute goods for industry communications, but there are alternatives for selecting a different cell package or a telecommunication service provider that maybe uses a broadband instead of mobile data, for example. It follows the preference of the customers accordingly, and whom they are going to choose in order to serve as their telecommunications and service providers, right? Right, now let us look at Axiata's firm environment in order to assess. So I have used the SWOT analysis for this. First, we started with the strength, which is Axiata's strength is diversified into many segments, such as the three main segments that I mentioned just now. Next, the strong R&D department. Yeah, it has committed with a strong R&D department, which helps Axiata to actually monitor and come up with innovative technologies and ideas in order to serve the community as max. And strong market reputation and presence in the sector wherever it operates is Axiata's strength, right? Moving on to the weakness is I have identified two weaknesses of Axiata, which is the reason low market share is a concern, and the low margins in many segments, right? Which means that the low market share is due to the heavy competition, such as Maxis and for the cellular products, and the TM, for instance, for the internet. So yeah, this is where the weakness comes in relation to Axiata Berhad. The opportunities lies for Axiata Berhad is the market penetration in internet usage is keep on increasing, right, as we all know, with the globalization and the digitalization era, and growth in telecommunication service industry, and the population growth and the urbanization is increasing the demand and the need for telco and internet services providers such as what Axiata is currently being ventured in. And the threats for Axiata Berhad is such as the smartphone wars, right, where certain aspects of things should be considered by Axiata before partnering up with some brands. Maybe, for example, when Axiata started working with Huawei, so it might have difficulties to when since Huawei is actually a rival of US brands, right? Next is the rapid changes in technology and the competition through aggressive advertising. Right, now let us look at the international strategies that the Axiata Berhad has taken up. The first strategy is the joint venture, where Axiata made a collaboration with Telenor and E.co Group, which allowed the company to improve network coverage, the internet speeds, and the customer support by pooling resources and experience. Collaborative partnerships have been successful for Axiata to expand its clientele and penetrate new markets around the globe. The next is acquisition. Axiata Berhad's strategy of acquiring strategic properties such as mobile network providers and the infrastructure company itself has actually been its key to its growth and income, allowing it to expand its activities in new markets and access millions of new customers. Moving on to the generic strategies, right? The first strategy you're going to look at is the cost leadership strategy. Axiata Berhad has implemented cost leadership strategies, including a shared services model and investments in technology and robotics to reduce costs and provide affordable services to its clients, as well as adopting digital solutions to streamline manual process and boost the productivity of the nation and the community that it serves to. The second generic strategy is the differentiation strategy, where Axiata actually implemented a differentiation strategy by introducing digital services such as mobile financial services, e-commerce networks, and digital advertising solution. This has enabled Axiata to provide unique and valuable offering to its customers and enhance the competitive advantage in the telecommunication industry throughout the region that it operates. Right. As a telecommunication company, Axiata actually faced numerous issues and throughout its operations in different regions, right? So here are some issues that I would like to highlight which are faced by Axiata. And the first is Axiata Berhad had difficulty upholding performance in accordance with its cellular code of conduct. Second, Axiata has had to deal with new business developments and comprehend to long-term strategy in the quickly evolving telecom sector. The third is Axiata has discovered chances for vendor development, which entails forging enduring bonds with vendors and aiding them to enhance their goods and services. Axiata has also encountered issues with providing assistance and service reliability during the pandemics, especially. And the last issues I'm going to highlight here is about the business had to adjust its operations by collaborating closely with vendors to make sure they have the tools and assistance they need to continue providing services. In order to amend these issues, right, I have come up with some recommendations, and I've highlighted a few for this presentation purpose, right. The first is Axiata Berhad can use more regional suppliers, partner with vendors for quality and sustainability, verticalize its group-wide buying services, and participate in the value chain talks for the telecom sector. Next, Axiata should actually create programs for financial and digital equality, put crisis management plans into actions, and collaborate with government organizations and partners during emergency. This is highlighted because of during the pandemics, right? It's not only for Axiata but also for other companies, telecommunication companies, and all other businesses that has been carried out in this world, right? They have to have a contingency plan in order to face this kind of uncertainties and emergency situation, where which actually will result in some distractions in their business operations, right? So in order to be as a step of precaution, they have to be prepared to face these kind of circumstances, especially with the help of government organizations, right? So yes, these are my recommendations, and I think we have came to the end of the presentation. Thank you all for paying attention and listening to my presentation. Thank you, Prof, and have a good day.